Hello, here I am again reporting in from China, and I have with me a recent purchase. So my purchase this time, there's not many things I buy in China, especially since I'm quite concerned about quality or whether or not I'm actually taking it home to England, but these I felt like I had to buy. So firstly, I've bought Pokemon and Pokemon in China. So normally whenever you hear the words Pokemon or any other large franchise, especially animated or video game related, often you think about counterfeit and low quality goods, which is the same for me. This is why I don't purchase a lot of models or figures in China. However, all these Pokemon here, these are actually licensed, which is number one, that's good. And number two, the price is good. The price is very good. So for these, we've got Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Charmander, Psyduck, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur. Currently a full set, we've got 6 of them here, so that's quite good. But the price is the best thing about them. So the price is 19.9 RMB. So at 19.9 RMB, that's around £2 to £2.10 in British pounds, and it's really cheap. So what I ended up doing first was purchasing Pikachu, because one of the things I was most concerned about was, at this price, what's the quality going to be like? And the quality isn't that bad. So I got Pikachu. I was really happy with the quality. I was expecting the mold and the paint to be all kind of like deformed and not clean. But honestly, it's fine, it's nice, it's basic, it's simple, and like, for this kind of product, especially in the UK, I would normally expect to see something like this for maybe £5 to £6 anyway, because it's quite a large figure. So, seeing as you're only spending around £2 on it, it makes it a bargain. So, what we're going to do is open up, well, I'll show you Pikachu first, and then I'm going to open up the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pretty much just show you the quality of them, and see how they look. But also as well, it's quite interesting, or the reason I think they're so interesting, or for me, I consider them like a bit of an interesting collector's item, is because, well, number one, they're, licensed, okay? So, they are licensed by a company called Yu Young. And Yu Young is a education company in China. Well, it's more like education / entertainment company, mainly do things for children kind of like age between like 3 to 10. And one of the things I noticed when I looked on their website online, they've got license for Pokemon, so for some Pokemon models and such, but they've also got the license for Shaun the Sheep, which I never expected to see in China. And pretty much this company has produced these models and they've sold them in Miniso, which, if you know Miniso in China, Miniso is a store in China where you can get pretty much cheap everything. So, Chinese company, cheap, quality you don't expect to be great. But yeah, they're only made for sale in China. So it says back on the back of Pikachu's head here, made for sale in China only. Which means if I go back to the UK, not many other people are going to have these. So I think it's just quite interesting. So we're going to do an unbox, and then let's just get to it. Okay, so now that all the Pokemon are actually out of the boxes, let's take a look at them. And first, obviously we're going to look at Pikachu. So he's the first one I got, and Pikachu, I wasn't particularly disappointed with the quality. The only main thing I would say is here. You can't really see it that much in the video. Maybe if we turn to the side a bit, you could see here. There's kind of the seam where you could see where it's kind of been put into two halves. So, oh, there we go, you can see it quite here. So there's a line down here where you can kind of tell that it's being part of like two separate pieces and then put together. Not quite the same way you've got this line, because this is quite a nice clean line, but this is kind of like, you're not supposed to notice this one. So Pikachu seems okay. Once again, if we're looking at the dots, it's like, it's not really blurred or anything. The only thing I would say for this one is that this eye here seems to be a little bit close to this cheek. Seems like the eye is supposed to be a little bit higher. So we could see the cheek and the eye here. There's a little bit of a gap, but that's okay. And I think for the price we're paying as well, the quality of this is just fine. So let's move on to Jigglypuff. We have Jigglypuff on screen now, and Jigglypuff, I would say, is the worst. Just flat out. I think the main one is if we just take the box here, Jigglypuff's kind of a different shade of pink. I feel like Jigglypuff's like should be a little bit lighter. She doesn't look that great. Also, her eyes look like extra derpy. I think it's probably because I don't know, they don't have like this little extra highlight here on the eyes, so they look more flat. The mouth as well, like, you see the mouth here has like a little bit of lining on it, whereas this one doesn't, so it just looks kind of stupid. Yeah, and once again, to say seam on Pikachu is less noticeable. On Jiggly, it's pretty noticeable right here. So Jigglypuff is probably the one. Oh, there we go, it says made in China only right there. Jigglypuff at the moment, I would say, is the only one which feels like it is a much lower quality. Definitely not up to the same kind of quality as the Pikachu. Like, you could clearly tell, look, it's like line here, and another line is, there's one here as well, so you can kind of tell this has been attached. So, not particularly great, big seam there. So, let's move on to Charmander. Charmander's okay. Relatively okay. Charmander, I can't really notice the seams too much. The seams like, you know, like here, where they've got like obviously the two colours of plastic and put together, but this is normally, it's kind of meant to be a split, so you don't even notice the seam. The only seam I notice, which I think is quite a big one, is the jaw. You can really see here how they've just kind of clamped the jaw on. So, I think, yeah, seams is the only issue. But the Charmander, he's got these little eyebrows, which definitely help. He's also got the highlight as well. Whereas the Jigglypuff doesn't actually have these. So I feel like if Jiggly had, for example, you know, these little lining on a nostril, the Jigglypuff, like, and the little highlights on the eyes, the Jigglypuff would be much, much better. But you see, even look, like the Charmander, he's got this little detail on the feet as well. So it seems like much more care and attention has been made on Pikachu and Charmander, probably because they're, you know, main starters, whereas Jigglypuff's just another, well, just another one of the originals. But yeah, overall Charmander, not great. Once again, to see him again, but you don't notice that one because it's on the bottom. So Charmander, much higher quality, apart from just these obvious seams. So, let's move on to Psyduck. Psyduck, a relatively simple Pokemon. And once again, he's got the lining around the eyes. I'm just going to bring Jiggly back. They've done an injustice to Jiggly. Look, lining around the eyes. No lining around the mouth. Psyduck, though, he's so much cleaner. Like, oh, the seams here, I didn't even notice that. Whereas the Jiggly seams is just so much more apparent. Also, look, you can see a little bit of deformation as well. So, so disappointed for the Jiggly. But Psyduck is pretty solid. The only thing I would say is this eye's off a little bit. This one seems a little bit lower. He's got little nostrils. His big feet are nice and stable, so he can definitely like stay on the ground, stay on his pedestal. Yeah, there's maybe some lining on the beak, just so you can tell it's like, it separates. Oh, there's a slight ding here, but once again, this is only like the equivalent of like £2, 10 pence. So honestly, for the quality, Psyduck I'm really happy with, Charmander I'm happy with, but Pikachu, Jiggly, disappointing. So disappointing. And let's move on to Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur right here. So Bulbasaur is also, once again, really nice. Obviously he's got like the extra shades of his complexion as well. These little spots. I would have definitely expected them to just not included these. And I guess one of the things as well, which is quite nice with him and Charmander, he's got these little teeth. Like these nice little small details. So teeth, nice to see them included. The actual mold on the back here. Okay, so you could tell they've done two parts. You can kind of see a seam going over here, but it's not too noticeable. So I'm happy with the back. With, well, the pod. Well, the bulb. Yeah, this is a bulb. The back's okay. You can see the seam, but you're not really looking at that. But yeah, overall, I'd say Bulbasaur is maybe just a little better than Charmander. His feet are okay. I'd say like the feet on the bottom aren't entirely flat. And oh, here you can notice a bit more. You can tell where they've been slotted in. So these have been separate pieces, and the legs have just been stuck on. But once again, for the price, I feel like it's a bargain. Definitely a bargain. And time to move on to my favourite. Okay, now Squirtle is the OG, the man, the best starter Pokemon from out of all of them. And here, Squirtle's hefty. Squirtle's chunky. He's the biggest Pokemon out of all of these. It's like if I put him next to the Charmander, it's like he's quite a bit bigger, which is quite surprising. He's also got like the shell, the lining is quite nice. Once again, at the bottom we've got some seams, but we don't really notice those. Tail, nice and simple. Only thing I would say here is like, maybe it's just because of the colour, but maybe the yellow and orange on the Psyduck and Pikachu make it a lot harder to see the seams. But overall, I'm quite happy with the Squirtle. He is a little bit large. I feel like he should just be like a tiny bit smaller, because he does feel a little bit bigger than the rest. Even Pikachu, he's just like towering above. If I bring Pikachu forward, it's like, is he always that size in relation to Pikachu? He just feels very, very big. But yeah, once again, colours, they're fine. Line works fine. It just feels like the kind of stickers, sometimes on some of them, it feels like they're slightly, ever so slightly misplaced, but that's being picky. But I feel like I can't be that picky for the price. If I paid like £10 per Pokemon or something like that, I would definitely expect a lot more. Same if like I was in England, because these would normally be around maybe easily, I don't know, £6-7-ish around. And if I was buying that, I would definitely expect the quality to be up a notch. But that's also the kind of quality you get for that price. You're not getting most detail. Being really picky, slight little here where it's dented. But I'm really happy with these Pokemon. I know I've been a bit critical and a bit negative, but they're good. And I've got the whole set. Nice and interesting. I'll have them up on my shelf. And yeah, so I think this is video over. Just ending with Squirtle. So yeah, bye.